Hello, all you wonderful people. Thank you for joining me tonight. Those of you that are new to my channel, I am Ocean Moonflower. I previously went by Empress Moon Tarot 777 and Groovy Gypsy Tarot 777. Um, I am here to give you a post-Hurricane Helene and Milton update. Yes, I am okay. My son and I do still have a home to live in. We do have power, we have gas in our vehicles, and everything is well in the present moment. Many of you did reach out to ask how we were doing during the storm. Some of you I was able to get back to, others of you I was not. We had a lot going on in our evacuation process, and I greatly, greatly appreciate those of you that understood that and kind of allowed us to, do our thing while we got ourselves to safety and took care of our home. Those of you that reached out that, are loved ones and friends, I greatly appreciated you checking in on me. It meant the world to me, absolutely positively did. And I thank you so very much. I thank all of you that are subscribers that also reached out to me to check on me. It was wonderful to know that I was loved and cared for by all of you, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to kind of give you an after the storms update on kind of what we went through and how we're feeling now and kind of what's going on here in the Florida area where we've been affected by the storm, things of that nature. So my son and I made the decision, which we regretted, to not evacuate during a mandatory evacuation of Hurricane Helene. To be clear, I do not recommend that you do that. I highly recommend that you evacuate. If you are in a mandatory evacuation zone, you cannot predict what is going to happen. Mother Nature is a beast, and storms are they're too unpredictable. So I strongly advise anybody who is in a hurricane evacuation area to evacuate when told to do so. My son and I are in Zone A, which means we are pretty much exceedingly vulnerable to storm surge, and that is our biggest potential area of catastrophe, shall we say. So we live on a first floor. We are about 8 feet from the water through the mangroves, and we are about 20 to 30 feet, maybe a little bit more, maybe not, maybe 40. I doubt it though, from the bay itself. And so we are very vulnerable to storm surge, especially since we face the side in which most of the water comes in at. So for Hurricane Idalia, way back, not way, way back, but last year, I believe Idalia. Yeah, I think it was last year. Idalia came through. We did evacuate for that. Our island did not see any flooding whatsoever, but yet I came home to flooding on my patio as well as water that came in about 2 feet into the front door. So for some reason, our apartment is extremely vulnerable to storm surge, rains, hurricane conditions for whatever reason. And during Hurricane Helene, my son and I made the decision to stay when a mandatory evacuation was called for our island. We chose to look at it from the standpoint of comparison of Helene to Idalia. And if everything was created equal, yeah, it would have been fine. All of my neighbors also chose to stay. And my neighbors upstairs, my neighbors downstairs, my neighbors, in several buildings chose to stay during Hurricane Helene because we had not seen surge flooding on our island. We have a very large seawall, and we had not seen a hurricane storm surge here at all. Well, many of us have been here. So We made the decision to stay, and that was a decision that was the wrong decision. So, to be clear, if you live in an evacuation zone and you are told to evacuate, it's because your life could be at risk. Get the heck out of Dodge. So, we made the decision to stay. And I got very concerned because, the bay typically empties during a hurricane. And then when it comes back in, that storm surge hits that seawall and it tends not to go over the seawall and all's good, right? So by the time that we recognized all was not well, it was not a time when we could actually evacuate and leave. So we, along with many of our neighbors, moved our vehicles to higher ground. So even getting to our vehicles at this stage was not really possible. Some people did not move their vehicles and had their vehicles totaled completely. About three others were very, very lucky. Three other vehicles were very lucky. They were able to bypass some of the flooding that we did receive because they moved their vehicles to the highest ground they could possibly find. So we happened to notice, both myself and my neighbor behind me had noticed that the water in the mangroves was rising. It was not going down, right? So the water was rising and it was rising at a rather rapid rate too. So I would go outside like every so often and I'd check on it while Hurricane Helene was a category 3 and as it turned to a category 4, it remained directly to our west for about a total of 2 hours. During this time, when it was a category 3, we really weren't seeing much. We weren't seeing much with regards to water. We weren't seeing much with regards to wind or anything of that nature. And then the hurricane turned to a category 4. The winds started picking up and the water continued to be pushed into the bay. So rather than the water being pulled from the bay, the water was being pushed into the bay. So we were watching the mangroves rising, and it was very apparent we were about to get some severe flooding. So I remember going out there at one point in time thinking, oh my goodness, the water is over the seawall and it's over the mangroves. And I'm looking around. At this point, I could see the waves crashing, but there's not a significant amount of flooding. But there's the recognition of the fact that, okay, we're going to be in trouble in a little bit if this keeps going. And so, I started checking more frequently. And I recall going outside and getting hit with a wind gust that caused me to have to wrap my arms around the stairwell because at any given moment, the wind was, knocking me far too back. And it actually lifted my feet off the ground ever so slightly. And then, wouldn't you know it, a couple minutes later, my son walks out the door. Hey, mom. And I'm like, you're walking just fine. And he's like, why are you hugging the stairs? And I was like, well, you should have seen the wind gust. So we both at that point in time went out to the top of the stairwell and we realized the water that we were seeing at the stairwell was just the overflow. It wasn't the actual flooding itself, and that the water was flooding dramatically, coming directly up underneath our windows and directly up underneath our patio. There was probably about, I would guess at that point in time, maybe a 4 to 6 inch difference between the water and the patio and the windows. And so at that point, we were trying to figure out, well, what do we do? This is not good. Went back inside, we secured our animals, um, and we came back out shortly thereafter, and the water was up to the bottom of our patio, the bottom of our windows, and was coming up to the third step. It was no longer overflow, it was flooding. And then we went out to the front side of the building. Now, our side of the building is more prone to surge because of the direction we're facing and because our apartment is lower. So we're more vulnerable to that, which explains why we came home from Idalia with some water, right? So we went out to the front of the building, and the waters of the parking lot were no longer partially flooded, but the entire parking lot was flooded. You could see chairs floating around in the bay. You could see all kinds of things floating around in the bay. It had really taken over. The flooding was pretty intense. And at that point, we talked to our neighbor upstairs and asked if we could come upstairs with our dog and cat. Many thanks. Many thanks for allowing us to come upstairs. And we went upstairs for a little while till the storm surge level was supposed to recede. So when we came back downstairs, I could hear the waves crashing on the windows, just below the windows in my bedroom. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a rough night. I really hope the waters are going back out, because you hear these waves coming in, and all you could think is, oh my gosh, they're going to crash through the window any minute if they continue to rise. But according to all of the data, the water was receding. So I did my best to go to sleep. It's not like going to sleep through lovely wave sounds. I don't know how many of you out there are like me and you listen to ocean waves or weather or, binaural beats combined with all of that in order to go to sleep. It's not possible during a hurricane. It's absolutely not possible during a hurricane. So anyway, so the next morning, everything was fine. Everything was fine. Next morning, we discover massive debris on the island. The whole entire island had flooded. One of the restaurants on the island, the waves actually crashed through the windows, completely flooded out the restaurant. They are not open. It's going to take a long time for them to reopen. And you could smell all the dead fish that ended up in that restaurant a few days later. Well, we did survey the island. There was, like I said, a ton of debris. Our road was filled with wooden pallets, part of the gazebo. Like it was just full of debris. So my son and I, thankfully, we were both safe, but I worried about people getting to the hotel. And I worried about people in the apartments behind us, as well as all of our neighbors whose cars were along this debris filled road. So my son and I made the decision to um, do what was right. And we cleared the road to make sure that emergency workers could get through, vehicles could get through. We only cleared one side of the road. There was too much debris for us to do the whole road. The city had started to clear the main thoroughfare, but they were not going to be coming down on our street on the island because they were just concerned about people getting through to the other side of the bay. So we did our part. We cleared all that out. I later found out that a woman who had throat surgery was unable to get to the hotel because of that debris. So it was very good that I was able to clear that debris. And so, a few hours spent, um, pure exhaustion. And we cleared that whole area. So that was good. Um, Fast forward, Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Milton has done some massive devastation for people along the Gulf Coast. I was out there on Wednesday, and the mounds and mounds and mounds. I know I sound very creaky, cracky right now. It's because I'm trying to hold back tears from what I saw. Um, Mounds of furniture, debris, things of that nature. People sitting outside, having cleared some of this. Utility workers. I drove over non-live, they were not live, down power lines, but I got to tell you, it's a mental mind F as you're driving over these power lines because you're like, oh, please don't let it be live, And so there's just like, there was so much devastation. And there was a Waffle House that is closed down. So for those of you that follow the whole Waffle House ruling, Waffle House is closed down in Treasure Island. So I drove around there a couple days ago while I was doing some Amazon package deliveries, and it was incredibly um, sad. And the realization that that could have been us was, um, I was relieved, but I was also frightened by what happens with the next storm that comes in that actually ends up hitting us rather than missing us. So it was amazing. We were watching Hurricane Milton. We definitely evacuated after Hurricane Helene. We knew that if 10 to 15 foot of storm surge came in, we would not be able to survive it. Plain and simple. We would not have. Not with where our apartment sits, where the water comes in. It would not have been possible. Also, our home would not have been um, habitable in any way, shape, or form. So we salvaged what we could. We said goodbye to basically everything else that was in our apartment. And then we evacuated to Orlando, where we ended up having to take shelter from two tornadoes that were 3 miles from us. And the number of tornadoes that came through on the central part of Florida, we were almost in more danger there than we were here, only because of the fact that the storm surge missed us. So Hurricane Milton, we did come back. When we came back, we did discover some water damage around our windows. And we thought that there had been no flooding in the apartment. Like, we were amazed. Like, how did we have some flooding with Idalia, but we had none with Milton? Mind you, my son and I put 28 sandbags out, several at the front door and several at the patio door. And we're like, oh, this is great. We have no flooding. We didn't lose power. This is fantastic, blah, blah, blah. I went to go pick up the sandbags to move from the patio door, and water was just like dripping from them. So sandbags do their job. If anybody questions that, sandbags do their job. Go get some sandbags and get plenty, because you never know how many you're going to need. 22 of the 28 were drenched. And major thank you to my neighbor who moved the ones at our doors so that we would have an easier time getting in. Cannot thank you enough. So that is my post hurricane update. We are alive. We are well. Can't say the same for everybody else. Our home is livable. Um, we did learn that minimalist is the way we wish to go from here on out. And I'm not so sure that we're going to be living here much longer after everything we have endured. The emotional toll of the storm is why I was unable to record until now to let you guys know how I was doing. It really is a once again a massive mind F when you are faced with the potential of loss of life and loss of livelihood. So the sheer amount of stress, overwhelm, some PTSD after having dealt with um, um, the hurricane surge waters coming up during Hurricane Helene, that, mentally and emotionally, it has taken its toll on me quite a bit. I know it's taken its toll on my neighbors. It's taken its toll on my coworkers. Many of us have been out of work for an extended period of time. As a result of that, we're also not seeing the influx of people that we used to have in the restaurant as well, because, everybody has been affected dramatically by the storm. So it's been a rough few weeks, but on a positive note, we're alive. Couldn't ask for a better outcome with our home, despite uh, how bad it was for many others. We got incredibly lucky being on the water where we are. We got incredibly lucky, and I am immensely grateful, immensely grateful. So, on that note, enough of all that. I went on forever and ever. Um, it um, it the last few days has given me some time to do some work on the website, get things settled, get things moving again, back into a normal state. For those of you that have not seen, I have been doing some blog stuff. Let me show you. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. How do I do this? I cannot remember. There we go. All right, my darlings. It says Groovy Gypsy Tarot. I'm going to be removing Groovy Gypsy Tarot from up here. It will just say Ocean Moonflower. We have upcoming events and lots of them. So, what is this right here? Weekly Zodiac live stream, freebie. Do y'all remember when I would do the Zodiac live streams from my apartments in Charlotte, North Carolina? I do all 12 Zodiacs, lasted about an hour and a half or so, and it was typically around lunchtime on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm going to start doing them on Mondays. If we're able to bring back Thursdays, I will do my best to try to bring back Thursdays. But I have listed them in the upcoming events so that you know when it's coming, you know that it's there. If you want to RSVP and just let me know, hey, I'm going to pop in, that would be great. It would be very encouraging to me to let me know, but there is no cost to that whatsoever, just so you guys are aware. I'm just going to be doing that on Mondays at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. VIP chill and chat. I loved these. I miss these. I miss catching up with my YouTube VIP members. This is not a VIP member on the website. It is VIP members on YouTube. This is a chill and chat for you guys only. It's going to be every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Wednesday, each week, Wednesday, unless I happen to be on vacation or something of that nature. I will be on vacation on the 6th. So just so you know, there will not be one on the 6th of November. So, but these will be weekly. Twin Flame Soulmate readings. I know you guys love those. I'm not doing one this weekend, but we will do one next weekend on the 26th. So we have that coming up. Your weekend tarot. Your weekend tarot, that is spirit-driven messages, weekly message. It's not very expensive. I think $11 for a reading, if I'm not mistaken. And that is going to be a weekly thing, but you have to get your order in by Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in order to have your link by Monday morning at 8 a.m. at the latest. So you have to have your order in by that time. New Moon and Scorpio tarot and astrology readings for November the 1st. That is coming up as well, but you only have a limited time to order in order for me to make sure that you do get your reading by the 1st of November. And then later in November, we have Twin Flame Soulmate readings here as well, and also in December. But don't worry, because as soon as these two events are over, the next ones will show for you. So you will see when Monday, October 28th, the weekly live stream. You will also see the VIP chill and chat for October the 30th. And yeah, so that's really exciting news. But that's not it. That's not it. Blog. We have a blog. So there's several, obviously because of the hurricanes, they got put on a brief pause. However, you'll see that there is a variety of content up here for you. So here's the stars will guide you, but intuition lights the way. A shaman's path is one of healing, connection, and deep inner knowing. So a little bit about shamanism. A brief touch into Huna. Huna is Hawaiian shamanism, something that I am very passionate about right now. Anything Hawaii. Aloha, my loves. So your zodiac sign, um, blog post on that. We have a blog post on meditation, Reiki, star seeds, light workers, crystals, chakras. Once again, your energy, the stillness, listening to the universe, that sort of thing. And there will be more. And I'm trying to get one put up every day. Obviously, that was on delay because of the hurricane, and it'll be on delay if I'm on holiday or anything of that nature. Some of you may not be aware. I am only offering two types of readings now, a 30-minute reading and a 60-minute reading. However, these can be Zoom readings. For those of you that loved my Zoom readings, these can be Zoom readings. It's your choice. You can either have it as a Zoom reading or a pre-recorded private video link. So that is new to the website also. Some of you may not be aware that I do personalized meditations also. So if you wanted to order a personalized meditation, we have several options here. And I will talk to you directly on those about those meditations in order to create the best one for you. Also doing Reiki. Reiki, you can either have an individual session or you can join in a monthly group Reiki session. But there needs to be, a few people that wish to do the monthly, so that you'd need to get in contact with me to see about doing the monthly Reiki. So that's about it up here. I also, for the holidays, the upcoming holidays, we do have e-gift cards. So that is something new also. For those of you that want to stay more in touch, more in tune, let's go ahead and let's stop the share. Let me come back to you. Hello. Hi, everybody. We also have a web portal of sorts um, on a mobile platform. Spaces by Wix allows you to stay connected with my website from this particular mobile app, where you can read the blogs, you can see the upcoming events, you can see your upcoming appointments, you can book services, that sort of thing, all via Spaces by Wix. So I'm going to put links for all that stuff down below. And I hope to see you guys Monday for the weekly Zodiac live stream. And stay tuned because I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on. I'm very excited about some of this stuff. I hope you will be as well. The blogs, definitely check those out. If you don't want to read the blogs, don't worry, because I'm also going to be putting them into video content for you. However, the blogs will come out first. Video content will be later. So if you want it, if you want to read it now, you want to check up on it now, definitely stay in tune with that. I have put all of this information is available on my LinkTree as well. You can also find on my LinkTree links to the blogs there, as well as links to my Spotify, my Twin Flame playlist on Spotify, my son's Spotify, my daughter from another mother's Spotify. They are both, they're brother and sister, and they are both brilliant musicians. And I really love the projects that they've been working on. So I hope that you will too. And I think that's about it. So that's my update. I'm back. I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. And we're going to get things up and rolling the way they used to. We're bringing stuff back that you guys loved. And I hope that it's going to be a blessing to you. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you guys more. I miss y'all. And thank you once again. I'm about ready to cry. Okay, hold on. Ocean's having a moment. I really, really, really am grateful for each and every one of you that reached out to me during Hurricane Milton, and understood the gravity of it. and wanted to check up on me. I really appreciate you guys. Mahalo nui loa, which means um, thanks to great magnitude and much love, y'all. Kiss hug from Ocean. I'll see you again soon. Later. Later. Later, later, later. Aloha.